Good morning, everybody. We're back. You regular listeners must get tired of hearing me say, boy, is this going to be an exciting show because things are getting different and changing unexpectedly. Well, I'm going to say it again. I'm sorry. You can't make this stuff up. We talked about this a little bit last week, but in the current news, we have a new president-elect. And of course, that was a bitter battle and divided the country, really, half on one side and half on the other side. This show tries very hard not to be political, but we can't ignore the facts. And you tell me if I'm leaning too far to one side or the other. I really, really don't want to. I frankly, off the record, didn't support either candidate. And I just think what is. So we have a new government now, and the thing that I talked about briefly last week that makes it so exciting to me this week, and it's good radio. This is not just educational. This is entertainment, right? So here we have the richest man in the world named Elon Musk, who is at the helm of what could well be, and a lot of experts say will be, the world's largest automotive manufacturing company. And he also happens to be the head of the world's largest dealership because Tesla sells direct. So you regular listeners, we talk about this all the time. So here he is, and now he gives millions and millions of dollars to the Republican candidate, Donald Trump. And Donald Trump brings him into his government. He's a very, very close advisor. Some say the closest advisor to the President of the United States. So if that isn't a monkey wrench in the whole automotive world, I don't know what is. We talk about a lot of things on this show. We talk about electric vehicles. We talk about autonomous vehicles. And these are two of Elon Musk's pet, projects, right? I mean, he leads the world in autonomous, and he also leads the world in all electric vehicles by a long shot. He's also the only manufacturer that is welcomed into China. He was in China before China knew anything at all about electric vehicles. He stirred up so much interest in electric vehicles, and now China has a company called BYD that's competing real close with Tesla, the only manufacturer that's really close with Tesla. So Elon Musk has got the ear of the President of the United States. He's got the ear of the head of the Chinese government. And he's got all the money. So what's that going to do to you and me? There's two me's. I drive cars, and I also have a dealership. So what's that going to do to you and me? This is what I hope we can talk about on the show this morning, and it's exciting now. Every time when Nancy and I, and by the way, my co-host Nancy Stewart, I'm going to turn the mic over to her very shortly, and she sits right across the desk from me here in our studio in North Palm Beach, Florida. We're all over the map here. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and of course we're on radio. We sometimes forget that, but we really are. And we have podcasts. I mean, we stream it. I mean, it's just we really get around, and we have callers from all over the United States and really the world. We have a few from outside of the country, and we love to get these calls. Every different area of the country has a different perspective. The only uniform thing we see, and we talk about on the show more than anything else, are the way dealers take advantage of people, and they still are. They still are. There's been a lot of talk. Federal Trade Commission, consumers against cars, consumers against retail scams, automobile scams. Yeah, consumers against automobile scams. And we've been waiting for some regulation for a long time. So we're doing our small part here because you, the caller, give us your experiences. When you bought a car, you tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have a mystery shopping report that is the highlight of the show. And we go into a car dealership every week, and we pretend to buy a car. We went into a Mercedes dealership this past week, and we'll tell you all about it. What really happened? Name names. We'll name the salesman, the sales manager, the dealership, and we tell you exactly what happened. But please remember that we always cater to you, our listeners and our viewers. And please call the show. I'm going to give you this number until you're nuts. You should write it down. That way you won't have to keep listening to me say it. It's 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. And we've been using that number for years. A lot of you have it probably memorized. If you don't have it memorized and you might call the show, think about it this way. We're going to be on the show from now until 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 2 hours. And you're not going to listen to the show or watch the show for 2 hours. It'd be nice if you did. We'd love to have you with us for the whole time. But we know you got lives, you got businesses, you got things to do. Saturday, hey, get out there and have some fun. And have some of those Thanksgiving leftovers. Get the family together. A lot of things to do. But if you listen to us for 15 or 20 minutes, you want to have the number. 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. Now, Nancy Stewart, and I'm looking at her right now, and she's looking at her laptop computer right now, and the guy in the control room is going to shoot the telephone number and name of anybody that calls in, the real telephone number. Now, we also want you to text us, and I'm going to give you a text number. I know this is the boring stuff, especially to our regular listeners, but the text number is 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. And these texts, we build them up and get to them during the show. If the calls slow down, then we go to the text. Sometimes we go to something called our anonymous line, youranonymousfeedback.com. That's a link, youranonymousfeedback.com. You go on that link, and you have access to us with total anonymity. Don't know who you are, where you are. You can say anything you want. You can be crude and nasty if you want to. I read and we all read these anonymous feedbacks as they are. Now, we censor it a little bit. I mean, once in a great while we get some nasty stuff that we have to use a bleep for, but that's okay. We value the candid anonymous feedbacks, and because it comes from the industry, it comes from a lot of retail people out there that know. For example, we may visit or have visited their store on the Mystery Shopping Report. So that's the reason we have youranonymousfeedback.com. But the main number, and we will stop the show. Nancy has the authority to stop whatever anybody is saying when there is a live caller. We promise we will not let you wait for a long time unless we just flat have too many calls on. You can't have too many calls, but we have 5 lines, I think. And that doesn't happen too often. It does happen every now and then. So I'm going to introduce you now to your new listeners. You old listeners know exactly who she is. Nancy Stewart. She co-founded the show with me 20 years ago, and she has got some things to talk to you about right now that you will be interested in. You're on the air.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We hope you enjoy the show as much as we do. You're a big part of the show because you make the show. Give us a call toll-free at 877-960-9960. Your thoughts, whether it's on sales, rental, leasing, servicing, anything at all. 877-960-9960. $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. You can use that this time of year. And you have had a pretty huge impact on the auto industry. Yes, you have influenced, all of you, the industry by 85%. And, well, for any car dealer not to recognize you, well, it's a financial disaster. You, like I said, are an important part of the auto industry. Again, $50 for the first two new lady callers. For you listeners who will be joining us on Zoom, that's an exciting part of and a detail of the show that we started, well, a couple of months ago. It's a whole lot of fun. We like meeting the callers, and you can win yourself $100 this morning by joining us. And that phone number on the Zoom meeting is, I'm sure you can see it right there on your screen. And it is the meeting ID, and it's 926-589-0586. And Jonathan is right here to take your calls from Zoom. He'll get your information, and as a producer, he's going to get the information that I need and pass it along to me. So stay tuned for all of that. We do have Frosty. We have a little dog that came to us from the Texas borders, and he's joined Big Dog Ranch Rescue, and he's waiting for a forever home. We're going to go to the phones, and we are going to start the show off with Kevin, who's calling us from Lake Park. Good morning, Kevin.
You there, Kevin? Yo, Kevin. I hear it clicking, though. I think you might.
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
I'm here. I hear you on the radio, but I don't hear you on my phone.
Oh, can you hear me now? Huh.
Uh-oh.
We got a technical issue here. I'm on the radio, but I'm not on this telephone.
I've got you now, I think.
Oh, great. That's good. What's going on, Kevin? What's your question?
Well, I've got a question, but I also wanted to say I just discovered your show a few months ago, and I look forward every Saturday to listening to it. You guys are lots of great information. I'm a car guy. I love cars, and you've taught me a lot. I even bought Earl's book and learned a lot through that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But and also I bought a beautiful car about a year ago, Mercedes 2002 CL600. I love the car, but I'm learning it's a very expensive car to maintain. So I'm kind of shopping around trying to decide what my best options are. I've looked at hybrids, looked at EVs. I love the idea of EVs, listening to you guys talk about your Tesla, and but I don't have the ability. I live in a condo. I don't have the ability to charge at home, and I'm wondering if that would be a big disadvantage.
Well, it's definitely a disadvantage. It's these issues that confront EV owners are being kind of resolved by the fact that it is inevitable that EVs are going to grow and grow and grow, and now apartments are actually putting in chargers. As businesses are putting in chargers, it's become a commercially wise thing to be EV friendly, because if EVs take over as much of the market as being forecast that they will, you want to be able to entertain and sell things to and be a part of the EV community. And one way to do that is have a charger, even a supercharger. Right now, it's not the case. You're still in the evolution of these things. Here's one thing that you mentioned Nancy and me and our Teslas. We have two Teslas. We have a Cybertruck, and we have the Plaid, the Model S Plaid. We have chargers in our garage, but we actually could get by very easily without those chargers. Depends on how much driving you do. And when you're in a Tesla, when you're driving a Tesla, on the screen in front of you, you always know where the nearest charger is. You also know whether it's a supercharger, meaning you can electric up. I started to say gas up. you can charge up in about 20 minutes. And that's, when you stop and think about it, that's pretty good. As we drive around our Tesla and I glance down there, I'm never more than 5 minutes away from a charger. So I wouldn't need to have my garage charger. It's a nice convenience. And I'm glad I have it, but it's not necessary. The entire country is pretty well covered with Tesla-style chargers. But to answer your question, I'd recommend you go to a hybrid first. I'd go to a hybrid. They are tested and they are proven, and they are electric. They give you great mileage, and the fuel economy is incredible. And then I'd sit there and watch the EVs and see what comes up. Right now, you're looking at Tesla, but there's also BYD. There are a lot of manufacturers that are jumping in the EV thing. So I wouldn't play the game of trying to pick the best EV right now. I just go with a tried and proven hybrid, and almost every manufacturer's got one of those. I've used Consumer Reports. And if you want the SUV, go to Consumer Reports and say, what are your best electric hybrid SUVs, and pick one that's in the top 10%.
Okay.
Just one little caveat. Because of a recent news story I saw, when you're looking on the screen, especially folks for around the nation, if you're in a more rural area where they may not have as many of the charging stations, be careful. Don't let your car get down to such a low charge that you've only got one place that you can access. Make sure you always have a backup. The reason being, this recent news story, a charging station in Pennsylvania, a rural area, the next nearest charging station was about 40 minutes away. This one particular spot, 18 of the 19 chargers, someone came along and cut the cables and took the entire length of the cable off of 18 of their superchargers, presumably for the idea of salvaging the scrap metal inside, the copper inside. But so just as a word of caution, always have a backup plan in place, that if you're using these, make sure you know that there is another one nearby or somewhere, and make sure you have enough range that you can still make it to that other one, just in case.
That's good advice. Yeah. That gives me a lot to think about. One other thing I do want to mention, though, is in the process of looking around at, learning about different vehicles, I've gone to a number of dealerships, and I could be a mystery shopper. I'll tell you, it's amazing. Actually, the combination of listening to your show and my, years of experience of shopping for cars. It's incredible, some of the things that some of the dealers try to pull. They add one dealer added something like $5,200 onto the out the door price of dealer added value added things like door protectors, screen protectors,
nitrogen in the tires.
Mm-hmm.
Nitrogen in the tires, exactly. The famous drivetrain warranty.
Yeah. You have been listening to the show, I can tell. Yeah, in a way, it's frustrating because the educated consumer, and you clearly are one, who is thoughtful and looks before he leaps. You listen to the show, and we're trying to reach the people out there that are being taken advantage of, and obviously they probably haven't been listening to the show. So thanks very much for your. You might want to consider your volunteering your services as a vigilante. We call it Earl's Vigilantes. You go to earloncars.com and on our webpage, earloncars.com, and we have a little place you can sign up and you volunteer, basically allow access to people that need advice on buying a car, so you can act as as part of the show. You'll be part of Earl on Cars and helping people make intelligent decisions.
That's a good idea. I may do that, and I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate you guys, and I wish you help.
Thanks, Kevin.
Wish you have a blessed weekend, and thanks again for doing what you do.
Thank you, Kevin. Give us a call again and let us know what you decided on that new vehicle. 877-960-9960. We're going to go to Jane, who calls us from LaBelle. Good morning, Jane.
Are you still there, Jane and LaBelle?
Yes, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Jane.
Good morning to you, sir.
Welcome.
And ma'am. Yes, thank you.
What can we do for you this morning?
Okay, I have first of all, I live in Canada, where it's quite a bit cooler than here in Florida.
Oh.
I'm down visiting family right now, though, and enjoying it.
Okay,
You might
Jane, let
find
me
it cool.
interrupt you for a minute. This is Nancy Stewart. Is this the first time that you've called the show?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. This morning,
Yep.
you have won yourself $50 as a female caller in helping me build a platform here for the ladies. If you'll stay on the line when we're finished speaking, you can give your contact information to the control room, and they'll give it to me. I'll sign the check and send it to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're
and I'm
quite
hoping
welcome.
to get.
Hope you
I'm
enjoy
hoping
your
to get an answer
vacation.
to my phone. Thank you, Nancy.
So what
Thank
were
you.
what were you saying?
Okay, I have a 2012 Honda Fit, which I love, and I'm trying to make it last as long as possible. I'm having a problem, however, with the starter. I only have this problem when it's freezing temperatures or below. The noise that it makes is like the car was already running, and I've tried to start it. It's grinding noise, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone's ever done that before. But this only happens if it's freezing or below.
That sounds almost like the starter, what's called the Bendix gear on the starter is hanging up. The way a starter motor actually operates is the gear is on a little shaft that's got a spiral section to it on the inside, so that when you turn the key and the starter motor spins, that gear thrusts itself outwards and it engages with the big gear on the transmission called the ring gear. And that then spins the engine so that the engine can start up. And if that Bendix gear is not getting that little gear to slide outwards to engage, it could be interfering and causing that grinding noise. I would be looking in to have a mechanic check it out for that noise. Get a recording of it if you can, especially you'll have someone else start the engine while you record it with your phone up under the hood so you can hear the sound really effectively. And most likely you're going to wind up needing a new starter motor.
Ew, that sounds costly.
Sometimes can be. For a Honda Fit, I'm going to guess that a new starter motor probably is going to be around $200 to $250, and probably around $200 to $250 labor to replace it. I'd be cautious about it because if the gear is actually trying to engage with the ring gear on the transmission, that's actually between the transmission and the engine. If it's hitting that and not engaging properly, it could damage that ring gear, and that's a much, much more expensive repair because then the transaxle actually has to be removed from the vehicle and the engine and transmission split apart in order to access that big ring gear.
Boy.
Yeah, I would definitely have that checked out very soon just to make sure that it's not a precursor to a much bigger bill.
And Jane, you want to be sure to get 3 bids on that when you just don't go to the first dealer that you call. Get the diagnosis and get a written estimate of what it's going to cost you. And if you do that to 2 or 3 dealers, you'll save yourself a lot of money.
Okay, good idea.
And I'm going to, Rick, can you tell me, as far as what we're talking about, would you say if the gears are not properly engaging in the with the engine's flywheel, you're saying if it isn't addressed properly, it can be a more costly situation above and beyond 200?